God told me stories. Said the pestilence turned men's faces inside out. Made them grow limbs where none should be. But the world was nearly lost in its wake. And she prayed that the Sarum would never need to return.
Very infrequently do video games do something wholly unique and new. When it happens, people usually take notice, and the industry and the games they make change forever. So far, that hasn't happened yet in the case of No Rest for the Wicked, but it's only a matter of time for this early access title. Moon Studios, most notable for Ori and the Blind Forest and its sequel, is attempting to make an action RPG unlike any other. The quick pitch for this game would be isometric Dark Souls, but it's more than that. Is the camera angle top-down? Yes. Is each enemy difficult in their own right? Yes. Is there dodge rolling? Yes. Okay, there's a lot of Dark Souls DNA here. But the biggest difference, no real death consequences. Gear takes a durability hit and will need repairs, but the deadly run back to a corpse is not a part of this game's design. One of the first things any player will notice is the gorgeous art style that leans into its eccentricities. The island of Sakura and its inhabitants, whether they be corsair, crusader, creature, or craftsman, are all full of character. The island is somewhat an open world, but parts of it are gated, so I guess it could be considered Metroidvania. With some clever climbing, one can find secrets and reach areas they didn't think were possible. The player will find themselves returning again and again to the hub town of Sacrament. As they contribute to its restoration, more opportunities become available. For example, at the start, a sort of home base that houses a bed and storage are in a basement that's hard to get to at the back of the city. Upgrades to the city make it easier to get to, but it's also possible to help the innkeeper open her inn again, or eventually purchase a home in the center of the city to replace the need for the basement entirely. I won't lie, one of my favorite things about this game is totally from the From Software playbook, but also present in other great titles like the new God of War games and Nier Automata, and that is repurposed play space. This idea that after a certain boss is defeated, or something takes place in the story, a portion of the game's explorable area changes and is inhabited by new enemies. The most notable example would be Ashina Castle in Sekiro, but also parts of Yharnam in Bloodborne. This also happens in No Rest for the Wicked, but one could argue it's even more vital in this game. As for why, well, let's get into that. While Sakura is filled with secrets to find, its greatest secret, it turns out, is you, the player. From the very beginning of the game, it's noted that you are not like the people around you. They call you Sarum, but your reference for what that means is non-existent. It's revealed that only Sarum can see the respawn points in the game, so at first it just seems like an in-game explanation for resurrection. But it's more than that. See, in every Dark Souls game, at a certain point you hit a wall. It's an encounter, maybe a boss, but it's something you just can't do. So you turn around and return to a more comfortable fight. One you can leverage again and again until your level is high enough to surmount that wall. Only when you turn around in No Rest for the Wicked, you find yourself alone. It dawns upon you for the first time that the enemies you killed forever. They aren't coming back. You've done everything you can do and now you have no options, right? Wrong. You are a Sarum. When you were created in the menu for No Rest for the Wicked, you were created separately from the world in which you play, not unlike some games in the survival crafting genre. Your existence is independent of the game world. When one world runs out of opportunities, it simply means that it's time to create another world. Sometimes creating a world for leveling up, other times for gathering resources, For a serum, there are no limits. Once the player understands their identity and how to actually play this game, it opens up in a very addictive way. I was playing this at the same time as Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, and this is the game that was living in my head rent-free, not Elden Ring.
An honor to meet you. I've only ever read the ancient texts about your kind. They have come, Master. From across the sea.
The pestilence. It festers. Everything it touches.
Did you not hear? The serum have arrived.
They won't come. Never answer.
I apologize. He is a brilliant scholar, but it's been so long. God's reach.
It's clear that for now, we Serum will have to wait for future updates to explore more of Sakra. When that time finally comes, check for updates here at Hackathon News.